Green flag back in the air. Brendan Maddox, Adam Buzzio, the whole field chomping at the bit. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. The Lucky Performance Overtime rules reminding you that if we get back around to the white flag, this race is official. Buzzio with a push from Dyer. Maddox with a push from Hughes. Zach, I think we're going to get there.
I think we will. Coming back around, Buzzio leads the group. Through the tri-oval we go. No caution. Sam Dyer looks to the outside. Through wide for the race lead. White flag is in the air, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. Sam Dyer is all by himself on the top line, Andrew. There is nothing that he can do. He's going to start dropping back, and Brendan Maddox is out in front by himself. I do not want to have a gap that big.
We'll see how this one works out. Maddox moves up, now moves down. That checks up the bottom side. Here comes Buzzio. Here comes Camper. Here comes Plord, all on the top side of the racetrack. Maddox now going to try and fight back on the bottom with a push from Buzzio's teammate. That's Hughes down low, and Hughes isn't pushing the lead. Now he gets there from a push from Mason Houseman to the stripe. It's going to be a drag race. Adam Buzzio, Dakota Camper. He's going to look down to the inside, and Camper is going to shove alongside of the 5. Dakota Camper, maybe, no, Buzzio's got to win this season.
Oh my goodness, what a finish.
About a month along into Season 9 of the North American Racing League, and we are technically still in week number 2. It's the second round of racing tonight for the NARL AM drivers as they have their chance to lap the historic Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps tonight. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Francorchamps, Belgium. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Chris Winstone alongside this evening. I'll be honest, we're going to cut some of the pre-race out of here this evening. Broadcast machine took a little bit to fire up. It's just one of those days. Technology working against us, but we are bound and determined to catch the back end of qualifying here. Anthony Wayand, so far fastest in this qualifying session. Of course, this evening's broadcast, as always, brought to you by Baradness, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. We have got, of course, the historic Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. There it is on your screen for the track map. We know it and love it, and if you watched the previous round of the North American Racing League with the pro drivers out there, including our very own Chris Winstone, you know this racetrack pretty decently well. Of course, La Source is always a busy place, but also the end of the Kemmel Straight into Lacombe, and all of the twisty bits from Bruxelles down through Stavelo and even Blanchemont there. A lot of great racing corners. I think we're going to see these guys very much on the chip tonight. What that means is they are on the limit. They're going to be battling each other very, very heavily over the course of the evening. So as graphics freeze up for a brief moment, there we go. We can get into points and then take a look at qualifying here this evening. Here is a look at the standings for you, Chris. Pierre Thompson, top of the standings, but that's because he had the best average finish last time out at Red Bull Ring. And I actually need to make this distinction as well. The Pro and Pro-Am points will reflect this change next week, Indianapolis, awarding wins on the standings graphic like this to each heat or feature winner. So I kind of looped Dino Filippa and I forget who it was in Pro-Am into kind of winning the round at Red Bull Ring and therefore displaying as a win on the points graphic. That was incorrect of me. I did not mean to do that. That was just a lot going on, getting into the swing of things once again. So I made that change here for the AM graphic. It does show Thiago Tavela having won the heat race back at Austria, and Cooper Brownell having won the feature race at Austria the same night. So that is a nice distinction, and I think will more accurately show who has won the different races, not necessarily rounds, but different races throughout the season, and I think that's important to keep track of. So as qualifying wraps up with Anthony Wayand on top, we won't unfortunately get to see cars on track for qualifying, but that means we can go right into the grid here in a second, Chris. But I gotta ask you, what was it like out there in the car a week ago up against some of the best of the series?
It was a little chaotic. It was fun, though. This is one of my favorite tracks. I really like racing here. I think that's why when we voted, I think it won pretty solidly. But there is a few points where you can kind of get out of sorts, and especially on the first lap, people trying to make up places. There's always a little bit of chaos here. People tapping the rear and sending someone spinning and things like that. So, yeah, I think it'll be exciting. We'll get some good racing, and I'm looking forward to watching these guys throw down. I think they provide good racing just like the other class, so I'm excited about it.
I'm excited as well. Let's take a look down your ATVO starting grid. We'll talk about some more stuff this evening. Anthony Wayand on pole in car 81. Emilio Almiron there in second place. Mason Houseman qualified third tonight. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch, considering he's not coming through the field like he was back at Austria a few weeks ago. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch in that 83 car. Armando Aarons from fourth. Back in the fifth spot, you'll find Alex DeMarco from Maradness. Thiago Tavela, of course, won the heat race back at Austria. He'll start sixth tonight. Back in seventh and eighth, Pierre Thompson, the overall round winner, alongside Miguel Alcrudo. And finally, Dan Sales and Scott Angelo in row 5.
All right, then we have in 11th, Norman Pedavani, next to Jose DeLeo in 12th. 13th, Dean Kerr, next to David Stevenson in the 777. David Jenkins in the 00 starts alongside Dominic Turcotte. He's someone who we've seen flashes a really good pace from before as well. Cooper Brunel, who is our race winner from the feature race, 49, starting next to Mitch Buenaventura, who had a bit of a rough race last week. Zachary Brandvold starting in 19th alongside Logan Smith to round out the top 20.
And back in 21st spot, you will find Diego Melo in the number 66 car alongside Mark Booley. Back in 23rd, Nicholas Renner alongside Billy Bowerman. 25th, Jordan Hendricks alongside Christian Gritzko out of Moldova. At least his family is. Richard Wolsifer alongside Brendan Maddox. A couple of BRB regulars right there in row 14. Then it's Corey McQueen and Anthony Astone back in row 15.
All right, moving down, we got 31st, Braxton Skinner in the 54 next to the 64 of Robert Guadagnoli, an old standard in the NARL GT3 series. The 666 of Jeff Denardi starts alongside the 28 of Wayne Grennan. And then 35th, Brian Wingarden starts alongside Clifford Allison in the 911. And we have the steward, followed by Robert Moyer, who presumably did not set a time. Everyone passed that. So.
And we can take a look briefly at the Whiplash SimCam's race details here. It's a 20-minute sprint. That's what we're getting ready to go for this evening, followed by a 40-minute feature. We'll see a top 8 invert between the two races. These are fixed setup races with 45% fuel out there, a 15x incident limit, and every 5 thereafter will be an additional drive-through. We'll talk about incidents a little bit later on. I do want to get to weather conditions before we get too much further in the evening. There's a look at the MX Wraps race weather. I love this. We said it in the pro round, myself and Zach Lindgren. We very much love that we're following calendar dates. I love this. I love this. I love this. Calendar dates gives you slightly more realistic weather. iRacing still has slightly more restrictive bounds, but it is cool to see cooler temps here in the middle of winter like we see in the Northern Hemisphere. We have that here as we're about to go racing for the first time this evening for the AM drivers at the one and only Spa. Here we go. Off of the final corner. We're just going to turn them loose. Towards the source we go. We are racing for round 2 for the AM drivers.
Looks nice and clean through turn 1. Oh,
spin.
There we go. We got our first spin.
That's Thiago Tavela, who won the heat race a week ago. Oh my goodness, or 2 weeks ago rather. Last round out anyway is for the AM drivers as Thiago's still trying to get going. Corey McQueen has had a problem. There they go, up and over Adion for the first time.
Yeah, everybody trying to get a tow. This is a really important place to defend and establish your position. There's going to be people who are going to be vulnerable. You can already see them stacked up too wide in the background there. Race leader seems to have gotten away pretty cleanly. I did notice that I haven't seen Hausman. Hausman seems to have not gridded up, so we'll have to see what happened to him.
Someone nearly just wiped out a bunch of cars. Scott Angelo, though, got on the binders, and I will say, we'll get to it here properly in a moment. I gotta appreciate the M Squad for getting some colors on their paint schemes. We loved them regardless, but it is even cooler to see some colors of the rainbow out there on those M Squad cars here this evening and moving forward. That is a really nice touch. Everybody getting single file out of Jackie X corner. A couple of cars still trying to find their footing. I saw one car, I think that might have been Cooper Brownell in the Ferrari, off in the dirt. He gets back on the racetrack now, as Jeff Denardi has got problems in the 666. He is back here turned around out of Jackie X corner along with Robert Moyer Jr., who's trying to find his way again. But Anthony Wayand leads us down into Stavolo here on lap number 1. The Mercedes leading another as it's Emiliano Almiron in the second place. Armando Aarons just behind as this Ventura now has a problem. Car 14, he is turned around and he's got a lot of damage.
Oh, that's rough. That's going to need... at least he's got it rolling again, so you can come in and use your fast repair, but that's going to put you on a... That's going to basically ruin your heat race.
Oh, Devin Jenkins has got a ton of damage as well. This will be a busy lap number 1, it looks like, for us to review in just a few moments. Here we go, though, final corner for our leaders on lap number 1. Here they go from the fan cam across the start-finish line. Armando Aarons out front in his Mercedes AMG. He's got the lead. Almiron chasing, Aarons third, Alcrudo, DeMarco your top 5.
And Almiron might actually be able to set up a move here if he keeps it smooth all the way through up Rouge and through Radian. He can definitely get a good run. That straight, you get a powerful tow, and it's hard to defend when you're all alone up there.
Look there at the leaders into Eau Rouge. Once they all fly through here for the second time, I just want to see the sparks. I like seeing these cars in compression in a line. This is cool.
Looks good, doesn't it?
The sparks flying off the left side of the splitters there. Whoa! That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. Who was that? That was Nick Redder, side by side with Christian Gritzko through Eau Rouge and Radion. That is a quick way to meet disaster. Thankfully, nobody gets twisted up too badly, but that was a dangerous, dangerous moment there for those couple of drivers, as Thiago Tavela is just behind. He is trying to rip back through the field. He's already made it back up to 27th. He'll look for 26th here. This could be a big moment on Corey McLean. He takes it 3 wide, and Thiago is taking prisoners. Oh my goodness, he is getting on through. He's now into 25th as he tries to recover from a lap 1 mishap. Chris, let's go back. Lap 1, it was a busy one. Might even blend into lap 2 a little bit. Let's see what we can do here.
There's a lot to go over for sure. That was an exciting it started out pretty clean, but then the whole field didn't get through before we started. I think I was a bit optimistic.
And to wrap up on Mason Houseman, he is not on the track yet. I don't know what's gone on, if it was a pit lane start and maybe he had to get up from the sim. I don't know, but something has gone on there for him. So let's see the field come on by. I don't even recall now who it started with. I think it was down... I think we got into Lacombe okay, didn't we?
There's one spin coming out of the sauce, but that wasn't, you know...
Oh, and that was Thiago. That was Thiago. Yeah.
That was Thiago. He's working his way back through the field now.
This is a replay back to lap 1. I want to see if we can find some of the chaos further back. I know we saw... Who was it? Jeff Denardi, maybe, and Robert Moyer Jr. They were turned around. There's Denardi in the Lamborghini, the 666, out of Brazil. We'll follow him as he will meet trouble here in just a second on the replay. And then it was the Acura of Robert Moyer Jr. who had a problem shortly thereafter. Good to see an Acura in the field. I like the car choice there by Robert. Unfortunately, something happened to him here on lap 1 as there's no contact for Jeff. And around as well was one of the Spirit cars. And oh man, look at Robert Moyer just come flying in there, spinning on his own. That was not ideal at all. Let's go back a little bit and kind of reset that. Here's the 16 now.
Like a series of sympathy spins after the first initial incident. It's hard. You're on cold tires. You got to be patient and wait for them to warm up. Remember, you don't have the grip. Takes a very shallow inside line there. Oh, yep. Just trying to avoid what's in front of you, and there's just no grip.
And then shortly thereafter, we saw an issue for Mitch Buenaventura. Here's that. This is down with Cooper Brownell into Stavolo campus, that whole area. Mitch in the bright yellow Porsche on the outside of this corner now just gets out in the dirt and over rotates. And oh my goodness, wipes out Devin Jenkins in the process.
Yeah, it's one of those places you really want to be using all of the track, and he did. But normally you can touch a little bit into that gravel, but if you get too deep like that, that's going to happen just about every time.
And Jenkins was right behind it to see it all happening. There you see he's quietly following behind a fellow Ferrari, and Mitch in that Porsche just gets wiped out. I mean, it happens, right? Lap 1, cold tires, trying to find your rhythm and whatnot. It's part of racing.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate. We've all been there. All you can do is get back on track, try to get your fast repair. Remember, there's another race, so... and as exciting as the first couple laps were, you know, there's still some positions you can make up as people make mistakes, so...
Oh, and there was a spin right there for Billy Barrowman. You kind of saw it right as we came back from the replay transition. That was the 10 car. And then Nick Renner had this moment with Christian Gritzko up the way to Eau Rouge. Then we'll get back to some live picture and catch back up with what's happening live as Anthony Wayan goes fastest. But here's this moment between these couple of Mustangs up the hill. Contact there. Some side drafting, NASCAR style. And forcing the issue, and then just some netcode grabs the 316. And you know what? If you're going to decide to go up side by side, you know, that's the risk you're going to take.
That is a big risk. That side by side through Eau Rouge is it's a game of chicken that many have played and lost. We'll say that.
Yeah, that's just how it goes, especially on iRacing. You know, netcode is part of sim racing on iRacing. It's not ideal, but part of it is, here we go for the race lead. They are getting busy. 81 and 22 way in at Almiron, nose to tail, snaking through the early portion of what is now lap number 4 of an expected 9-lap sprint race. There are some battles deeper in the field. Dominic Turcotte, David Stevenson, here they are. And then a little bit deeper, we also have Dean Kerr and Diego Mello, and Dean Kerr is without a front bumper in that purple M Squad Mercedes. We also have Logan Smith and Richard Walsifer. Walsifer with the dive on Smith, that's for 17th spot. And even further back, Mark Booley is just ahead of another fight. He's actually racing with Norman Padavai here in 24th and 25th. There's Mark in the white and orange Mercedes. Braxton Skinner passing Clifford Allison. Couple of oval racers from the channel here at Pit Stop TV. Braxton runs in the BRB Sundance Pro Series, while Clifford Allison runs in the newly acquired All-American Racing League on Sunday mornings, bright and early. I'm telling you, we go live at 9:45 a.m. for those broadcasts, and that is really pushing the issue, pushing the alarm clock for us. But good to see Clifford here this evening in car number 911. He is in the Porsche, which matches the car number.
Yeah, really solid racing. That does sound like a good way to start your day. It's a little early, but you know, it's always good to start the day with a little bit of racing. Hey,
brew a pot of coffee and sit down and get ready for some sim racing. I think that's okay.
Especially if it's anything like this race for the lead. You can see Elmiron has been putting the pressure on. He's keeping it very consistently, not falling too far back. Just kind of trying to pick your moment, wait for the car in front to make a mistake.
And they have
Mason Hausman has connected.
It's good to see he's back in the session. They have a lap car here in Billy Bowerman just ahead of the leaders. So there's Billy. And here in this next shot, we'll show you, here comes Anthony way into the frame. There he is. So, I mean, it is literally about to get going as Diego Mello now has a problem in the 66. He's into the pit lane. We don't expect pit stops in this sprint race. That must be for some kind of damage, as Wayne Grennan is also around. He is out of the final corner on the lap. It's been an exciting start here to Spa.
Definitely. I'm watching these two guys and noticing one thing that I think is really important here for these amateur guys especially is to find the extra pace, really making sure they use all of the track. Because when I was going through laps, you can kind of see a lot of places where they're not really using all of the track space that's available. And we see these two guys, a lot of the corners, not everyone, but most of the corners, see there, we're getting on the outside curb, we're using all the space that's available. Opens the corner up, lets us get on the throttle really early. Yep, just like that. Looking very good back there. Calm and collected.
I know we've commented a lot through now. This is the 4th broadcast of the season, technically, even though we're only 2 rounds in. We've talked a lot already about car choice and the fact that this season it has been overwhelmingly a transition back to front-engine vehicles, whether it's the Mercedes, the Ford Mustang, or even the Aston Martin. Those have been the 3 cars of choice so far. We don't see many Astons down here in the amateur ranks. Why do you think that is, Chris?
You know, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it could just be a situation. I know when I was doing the AM stuff, I drove the Ferrari because I had it, and I wasn't going to pay for another car. And you kind of get in the situation where you're like, well, there's more. Oh, that's getting a little exciting there, a little loose. Good catch. Driving right on the limit. But you get in a situation where there's more you can develop in your technique, and you're going to find more time that way than the car. And so you can kind of overcome a deficit there, and it opens up the choice a bit more, which is fun.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of conversations like that with some drivers already this season of, choosing. I think it was even Cooper Brownell. He said he jumped in the Ferrari, if I recall correctly, because it's just what he had, and found success with it in round 1. And obviously, if you find success once, you want to keep going with it. So Cooper still, obviously, he's forced to stay in the Ferrari this season if he wants to keep earning points, but obviously still choosing to sign up with it, as Anthony has a move now to the outside from Emiliano. That's gonna trip me up all season. Side by side though, this is close. Mirrors touching maybe, as Emiliano will not let it go. Wow. Anthony Wayan trying to get rid of this 22 car. Look at how close they are.
That's tough but fair, and that's very smart on Wayan's part. You don't need to force the issue. You can save, give him room. You don't want to crash. You have the inside for the carousel there at the bottom. And he's not going to get around the outside either. So really well, that was great. That was outstanding.
Sensational racing at the front of the field. Of course, we only have the one class down here in AM. This is the bottom class, technically, of the North American Racing League. Kind of the entry-level class. This is the lower I ratings of the series. You gotta have higher I ratings to make it up into Pro-Am, and you gotta really have a high I rating and have some stats to your resume to make it up into Pro. So this is kind of a catch-all series, if you will, of the North American Racing League. I like that we've broken it back down, though. I like that we've gone this route of actually having separate races again, and I even like that it's got separate weeks. It gives these AM drivers their very own spotlight here on Thursday evenings, staggered from the pro drivers, and I mean, this is a great way to prove themselves. Anthony Wayand, Emiliano Almiron, they are really showing what they're made of already, and Armando Aarons and Miguel Alcruda, we know how quick they are. They're right behind, with this battle happening right behind them. Pierre Thompson, Alex DeMarco, contact, Jose DeLeo checks up.
Oh, and that was Pierre Thompson. We saw him with a really great move 2 weeks ago, where he held it together pretty well. That was a little aggressive, but, you know, move done, I guess.
And the Corvette, the Corvette of DeLeo will get by. That's the teal car. Well, the first of two teal cars, I suppose. That gets by the Ford Mustang of Alex DeMarco. Logan Smith turned around. He falls to 19th. Oh, man. This is not ideal for him at all. Final corner of the racetrack. Everybody's coming at you. There's just nowhere to get turned around. He finally finds a spot behind Zach Brandvold.
That's good. Stayed out of everybody's way. Didn't let the frustration get to him. It sucks. You know it's kind of ruined things, but remember, another race. Good job staying patient and not ruining anybody else's race.
And of course, we will talk a little bit more in a couple of moments about that top 8 invert. I saw Pierre Thompson, though, drop a wheel there out of Malmedy. He was really getting on it. Jose DeLeo might open up the inside of the corner in a moment, try to get down there. Good to see a Corvette doing well. Jose, I think we said this again last week, or last round, I suppose, for the AM drivers at Austria. We expect Jose in a Ford Mustang, not in a Chevrolet Corvette, but it is cool to see a Corvette doing well. Top 5. Almost. It
is, and it's a good-looking car, too. I like it, and one thing, Pierre's going to have to watch himself because DeLeo's got pace, and he is one who will... I mean, he's not completely reckless, but he will be more aggressive, and he'll go for a spot if you leave it open, so he's going to need to be smart about his defense here, and we'll see what DeLeo can do to get around him.
Mentioning the 8-car invert, Dan Sales currently holds that 8th spot in his Lamborghini out of Canada, our neighbors to the north. And he is here this season for Dogfight Rush. A couple of his teammates are further back. He is certainly carrying the banner for them this evening. 4 minutes away from potentially having a pole position start for tonight's feature event here at Spa. Some other drivers having issues. I saw Braxton Skinner very slow a moment ago, and he has certainly dropped down the order there. He is now in 30th spot in the number 54. Wayne Grennan, Braden Van Wingerden in trouble. Oh my goodness, that's not ideal.
No, that's not what you want to see.
That's down through Pouan. Braden, one of our Spirit Racing drivers coming over from the BRB Racing League. I think a lot of those guys will be more at home when we hit places like Indianapolis and Watkins Glen. Maybe even Mexico City, because, I mean, even Mexico City now has been on the NASCAR calendar. We'll talk more about the actual full series calendar here between races, so only a few minutes away. But yeah, I think when we hit rounds that they've technically been to before, those guys will be much, much better, more at home. And they'll have a few rounds under their belt in these cars to maybe attack a little more and find some more speed. And I think they'll have better results from then on. But for now, it's still very much a learning experience for those guys. I mean, just imagine, for example, Chris, I'm not sure what kind of experience you have on Oval, but imagine if you just went straight head first into BRB, for example. I'm sure you'd be like a fish out of water, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain skills that transfer over. And, I mean, a lot of guys I know have done, you know, you get on iRacing, you have it, you may as well try it. You do some rookie stuff, but nothing serious. So, but yeah, there is definitely an adjustment period and a learning period. But it's a long season. You get 2 races every weekend or every event, which is just extra experience, which is great. So I think that's really going to help. Got a great battle here for the lead and the podium.
This is quickly
Crudo
back to
behind is-
ninth. We'll circle back to leaders in just a second. Jose DeLeo just dropped out for about a half lap. So this could become, if Jose drops out of the session, this could become the fight for the 8th position, which would invert to pole. This is Dominic Turcotte in the Corvette and Scott Angelo in the Mercedes. Just keep an eye on it on the ticker as we get back up to our leaders here as they work into the bus stop chicane to wrap up lap number 8. This should begin the final lap of our sprint race here this evening. Yes, it will. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Down to La Source we go. 4 cars under a blanket and a few more just behind. It's go time.
Not sure if they're going to be close enough. You kind of got the train working against you if you're the 2 cars in the back. They can bump draft, but they're not really close enough for that, so I don't think they're going to have that advantage here. See who can be really smooth through here and keep the speed up.
That was an awesome view.
That was great. That was
up
great.
the hill. I'm watching Aaron's. He's got the support of his teammate behind him, so he's not worried about what's in the mirror. He's only worried about the windshield. Whereas Almiron, like he's got to consider Aaron's right behind him when he makes a dive here on way in. He can't completely throw abandon into the corner. He's got to watch out, right? He can't completely send it and then open the corner up for the car behind. And Almiron now is even falling back, so I don't know. This could be Anthony's race.
I think it is. He just has to mistake free. It's really hard to be that guy in the middle. Your attention is diverted, so you're more likely to make a mistake. So maybe the best thing is say, okay, well, I'm too far back to make a move for a lead. Let's just hold this position, and I'll be in front of, when we invert, I'll at least start one position in front of weigh-in, and maybe I can make it up there.
Jose DeLeo and another have had issues. Brendan Maddox has turned around, but the battle for 8th for the invert is now Scott Angelo and Dominic Turcotte. Turcotte is into 7th, Angelo into 8th, and the next car out would be David Stevenson here in the M Squad BMW. Back towards the front. Here we go. Final few corners for Anthony Wayand at the race lead. Everybody's out in the dirt. They're all pushing the issue here. That could result in some slowdowns, though. I think I saw Almiron out in the dirt. I think I saw Miguel Alcrudo out there as well. Will they have any slowdowns?
They might. Luckily, the good thing is if everybody does it, I don't think you usually get a slowdown. But, oh, here we go, where he's going to send it around the outside, try to get the inside for the left hand.
Aaron's on the inside. Ooh. Anthony Wayand will win the sprint race down in AM, but it's a battle to the line. Almiron back on the racetrack, and he gets it at the stripe. That's all for second, as Anthony Wayand wins here in amateur. How about that? For car number 81 to open things up this evening. Battle to the line as well for the invert. David Stevenson goes by a slow Dominic Turcotte, and Stevenson will lead us to the green in the feature. Turcotte fumbles in the final couple of moments.
Looks like he actually got punted. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's fair. It could have been contact related. I guess we should back it up maybe and take a look once the race is over. But a few more cars coming to the line. There's Brendan Maddox, Logan Smith, Diego Melo, and a handful of others. A Stone there, Buenaventura, Brandvold, all under a blanket. Contact there as Buenaventura gets a run. He will pass Stone there for 24th. A few more at the back of the field. McQueen pulling into the pits. Braxton Skinner might get him before the end of this race. No, he's into the pits as well. Wayne Grennan, Devin Jenkins, Robert Moyer Jr., and Jeff Dinardi towards the back. And then it looks like Mason Houseman just might be the final driver to the line here. I'm unsure as to what's happened for Mason to put him in this situation 4 laps down, but at least he made it into the session.
Yeah, then at least you get to participate in the next one, but that was... Man, that was a wild finish. There's a lot to go over there. I'm sure we'll hear what Mason's... what the issue was, maybe a technical issue, maybe the internet cut out or something. There's always kind of bad luck technical failures, so hopefully we get word from him on what that was.
He's the final car to cross the line, and it sends... I saw some penalties there at the end as Houseman sends it off into the barrier. Braden Van Wingerden had a penalty there on the last lap. He got put to the rear for some reason. I would imagine incidents or something similar, as there were a couple of drivers trying to serve those penalties, or so it seemed there on the final lap. I want to go back, though, and see if we can see what happened. Who was it there in the final corner again?
Well, Scott Angelo, I think actually just made. I don't know. I'll have to look at it, but it's a little bit of a wild one.
But yeah, here's Angelo. He was scored at the line as looks like 7th. Trying to see the number board there on the windshield.
It's going into bus stop is where it happened. It was right there in the last corner. He gets a really good run here.
Oh yeah, all this time to draft off of the Corvette ahead, and that is Dominic Turcotte at 73. Yeah, that's right. I called Turcotte as having fumbled it. Well, we didn't get the full story. Here it is. Oh my gosh. That's not kosher at all.
No, that was a bit of a... I think the speed difference caught him out. Maybe he thought he was going to go the other way, but that was one to learn from.
Yeah, and then I backed it up too far right here. So let's pull back to where it should be on the replay. This, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest. I love our M Squad guys, and I love Scott Angelo and everybody else there, but this is not how you do that at all. That is not how you should try to pass into the chicane at Spa. When a driver has positioned themselves on the right side of the racetrack, that typically leaves the entire left side. And maybe I'll catch some flack for that, but I'm going to be honest, this is one of the more egregious incidents I have seen in North American Racing League in a while. I mean, Dominic is completely on the white line, and Scott takes it upon himself to just go off. And maybe I'm being a little harsh on Scott. I'm sure, hopefully he apologized. And hopefully he regrets that and learns, but that is not ideal whatsoever. Yeah,
I mean, and I've raced with him a while, you know.
Yeah, this is odd to see from Scott.
Yeah, it's not a typical. So
I wonder So okay, I will back up. Watching it from the onboard, he may have gotten lost and thought there was racetrack there. He might have thought there was genuine daylight, because when you are in the cockpit, I want to show this again, maybe slow it down. When you're in the cockpit, right, from our driver's eye POV, this is just maybe a little bit lower from where these guys are situated in their camera in the sim, but you can't always see that white line. So he may have genuinely been surprised when he pulled right and saw grass.
Yep, and then, I mean, at that point, you can't slow down, so at that point, the wreck has already happened, you're just waiting to get to it. Yeah, you can see, I think he's a little embarrassed. He slows down and lets him go. Yeah, so
it may have been a moment of instant regret, so maybe it was a little bit harsh at first for Scott, but that is still not the ideal way to try to make a pass there at all. But I do want to, without further ado, I want to get to the schedule that we were talking about, and you know, you and I mentioned getting to this anyways in between these two races. There's the AM schedule. Austria, of course, was a couple of weeks ago. Here we are now at Spa. Next up for these drivers, well, of course, the pros will have a chance to do it first, Indianapolis, but we're headed down to Indianapolis. I'm excited. That is a road course we don't visit very often here on the channel. I think the last time we were there was actually for the North American Racing League Porsche Cup several seasons ago now. Man, it's been a little while, but I believe that's the last time we were at the Indianapolis road course right after it got remodeled for NASCAR. So I'm excited to see how it goes for round 3, and then of course Mexico City and New York. I think those are also a little bit more in the realm of what some of these NASCAR and oval guys have done before. I think they'll also be better at Road America possibly, Chris, but regardless, it's a stout selection of tracks as always by Scott Reister.
Yeah, very good. This is, I think I said it last week, but pretty much my favorite set of tracks that we've done so far. A lot of good ones. The only one I'm scared of is Watkins Glen. I'm a little nervous after having done some officials, so it can get a little spicy there, but all the tracks, especially Indy, I've already been practicing. It's so much fun. Real technical. Yeah,
Watkins Glen can definitely be a little bit crazy at times, but I think every season needs one of those rounds, right? To just kind of let everyone go and send it a little bit, and maybe they learn the hard way, but, you know, that's part of racing sometimes. So especially when you don't have the physical repercussions in sim racing like you do in the real world. So we'll take it in that regard. Before we get into the feature, though, I do want to give a big thank you to our partners with the North American Racing League, of course, Maradness and the M Squad. They all do so much, and I was just very heavily critical of one of their drivers, but it's all love. I know everybody is just here trying to do their best week in, week out, and certainly Maradness and M Squad does their best every time they show up to the virtual racetrack here in support of the North American Racing League, as well as JS Consulting. John Sedlak, a longtime partner, has been very helpful these last handful of years. Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, of course, also a great partner here of the series alongside Rocket Designs. Here we go, though, Chris, into the feature with the ATVO starting grid. David Stevenson there in the 777 alongside Jose DeLeo. They got to the line in 8th and 7th. Respectively, there to finish up the heat. They'll be starting, I guess, ahead of Dan Sales and Pierre Thompson, Miguel Alcrudo, Armando Aarons, Emiliano Almiron, and Anthony Wayand, your top 8 that were inverted. Dominic Turcotte in 9th, Christian Gritzko in 10th.
All right, in 11th, Cooper Brownell. 12th, Jordan Hendricks, starting alongside. 13th, Dean Kerr in the 84. 717 and 14th, Diego Tavella. I had a little bit of a rough start. We'll see if he's done a good job of recovering, though. Alex DeMarco on 15th, and Richard Wolsifer is starting 16th alongside. We have Norman Padavani in the 04 car and the 199 of Mark Booley starting 18th. And Nicholas Renner in 19th with Brendan Maddox alongside him in 20th to wrap up the top 20.
Into your back half of the field, Logan Smith in 21st, Diego Melo 22nd, Mitch Buenaventura there in 23rd. Not a great opening round of the day. He has time to improve. Anthony Estone there in 24th. Zach Brandvold hanging on in 25th. Clifford Allison gained a handful of spots up to 26th. Robert Guadagnoli there in 27th. Love seeing him on the racetrack. Braxton Skinner in 28th. Wayne Grennan, Devin Jenkins, your top 30.
All right, 31st, Robert Moyer in the 16, and the 666 in 32nd of Jeff Denardi. In 33rd, Corey McQueen, and 34th alongside Billy Bowerman. 35th, Braden Wintergarten, and 36th, Mason Hausman. Hopefully he can, we'll see him cut through the field one more time, I guess. We saw him do it in Austria.
Yeah, this time he's got a little more work to do, though, when we unload for the feature here tonight. Race weather's still pretty cool. 65.1 in the air, 67 on track. Partly cloudy skies. It's about what you would expect here for a February race session at Spa. I got very few words to say other than let's go racing. Here we go, the feature event for the North American Racing League AM drivers in the GT3 cars at Spa. We are racing again. Here goes for 40 minutes.
Let's see who's going to be the first to crack. Well held.
A couple of cars maybe slow through La Source for the first time, but here we go. The climb up through, or down, I guess, rather, to Eau Rouge, then back up Radion. Always an exhilarating experience the first time in any race. No matter how many times you've done it, it gets your heart going a few beats faster. It always does.
Always looks good. This shot, too. This is another classic. Here we see him coming down. Going to see some moves here for the lead.
Whoa! Up the inside, Pierre Thompson. He's aggressive. He's cautiously aggressive, though. He sends it, but he's always confident doing so, it feels like. Battle for the race lead out his windshield. Stevenson on the right, and that big move out of DeLeo. He clears down to the inside of Bruxelles for the race lead. Stevenson feeds a bumper.
Tough but fair. It's a long way around, but I think if he can hang on, well, he's not going to have the inside here, so he's going to have to fall back in line. But this is still the chaotic moment. Everybody trying to sort themselves out. Now about now is when we got single file for the heat race as well. One more move, maybe? And a little far back.
Yeah, Dan Sales suddenly saw Alcrudo in his mirror there down into Pouan. It's still lap 1 for the feature, and these guys are all ready, making some big money moves here to try and go forward in this race. Problems, Wolsifer and Allison off the racetrack. Allison in the Porsche, he's going to be junked, it looks like. Yep, left rear completely knocked off of that race car. Wolsifer will continue, albeit with some damage.
That's a rough way to end the day. that early. You can tow back and you get back out there if you want, but at this point you're just doing it for the experience and the practice, which for the oval guys might be good. Ooh, this could get
Yeah, let's go
spicy.
back to this. Renner on the right side, 3 wide, Kerr in the middle, and I believe that was Padovani on the left. Drivers left anyways. Here they are now to the bus stop. Lap 1. Oh, they've sorted it out a little bit. Our leaders are through into the chicane, and here they are off the final corner. DeLeo gets away. It's Pierre Thompson, David Stevenson in second. A whole lot of great racing. One car, I think, smoking some tires. That was Turcotte, maybe. Tiago Tavella already working on a top 10.
Wow, this is great.
Why,
This is
baby? Wow.
So many just good moves. Nobody willing to give up. We got some people mixed up in weird positions, looking to claw things back. Everybody's been tough but fair so far. Nothing too crazy. See if they're going to play chicken this time. Who's going to back out? Nobody.
That's not going to work. Contact.
Oh, that was well. That was good. That's best case scenario for that.
Yeah, that was. Dominic Turcotte was the Corvette that went out wide there in that contact. I'm surprised they didn't wad things up. They might have had, though. Oh, the 33 into the 91 of Gritsko. That was Hendricks in the 33. They sorted out, but not without a couple of incidents handed back and forth and some mirrors dinged. This is all in the midfield. The leaders ahead are racing, too. Emiliano Almiron still on the back end of Miguel Alcrudo. There is so much racing happening right now.
Oh, that's going to leave
Hendricks,
Alcrudo vulnerable.
33 problems. He has fallen backwards. He's got a bunch of right side damage. We just saw him in that fight. He has, Renner in trouble with Kerr. Oh my gosh.
No. Oh no.
The 99, that's Anthony Estone. Dean Kerr as well.
Oh,
Not
back
back
up,
across the
don't back up,
racetrack.
don't back up. Oh. See, that's one of those things. This is why in this series you're gonna get talked to about that. That's okay. Like I said, the frustration, that was, I think, an example the opposite direction when you let the frustration get to you and you just kind of like, I'm going.
Yeah, you gotta
That's
learn.
not the way to handle that.
You gotta learn some way, I will say that, but I do think the Empire Racing team, Scott Reiser is a part of it. I think they will be giving Estone a very healthy talking to after that rejoin. But let's go up and see the 33 of Hendricks. He was kind of the start of all of this with Gritsko on the inside. Gritsko gets down in there, taps him. Hendricks gets tapped again, I'd imagine. Hit right here. Renner just barely got him. I don't know how the right front got broken like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, then that dust, it's just a smoke screen when you're coming through there. When the cars are this close, oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh
my goodness.
So which one of them gets our near miss?
Yeah, I was just trying to process that. Who does get it here in all of this? Let's see, can we get a decent view from overhead maybe? That's not going to do it. Well, there you see Kerr getting the 99 to spin him out. We're just going to award it to all of these cars coming through, so let's slow it down. That's, I think, Braxton Skinner maybe in the yellow Spirit car, Wayne Grennan in the 28. We've got the 666, I believe that is Sales maybe? No, that is Denardi, and then you've got McQueen, and then you've got another Spirit car. All of those guys, whoever they are, they all get today's Murtis Mega Miss. Wow, look at that.
Oh, man.
There was no room there between the 99 and the 8 at all.
That is a brown pants moment, as they say.
That and then some, for sure. So, good to see that Anthony Estone has continued on. But he is down in the 28th position. Back up to the race lead, Jose DeLeo showing out. This could be a career day for him to show what he's properly made of. Could it be as well our first mid-engined win of the season? I know
that could be interesting, but
I'm saying a lot for 34 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and we know Pierre's fast. He closed the gap really quick. We know he can do some bold and impressive overtakes. But then we also know that DeLeo is a pretty staunch defender, and he's not one to back down. If Pierre wants to go side by side through Radion, I think DeLeo is one who will call him on that. So we might see that again at some point.
33 minutes to go. Braden Van Wingerden, the 11, he's got trouble. He's turned around down in Stavolo and Campus. He's trying to get righted. This is kind of the better way to do it. At least he's Austin Powersing things. He's got some gap behind him now, as Robert Moyer Jr.'s just gone off the racetrack. Oh my goodness, and he's got tons and tons of damage to his number 16 Acura. His very first campaign in the North American Racing League comes to an early, not halt necessarily. He continues, but here's the incident. The car got away from him. As soon as he hit the brakes there into Puan, it did not like it at all. And I wonder maybe if we can go on board. I mean, this could be a learning thing for him. If he stabs the brakes here, that's the problem. This is a corner where you want to just lightly kind of trail brake, if anything.
A good use of the curb. You got to be careful coming off. Yep, that looked like pretty hard. The car gets really unsettled when you're coming off the curb. You still want to use the curb, but like you said, you want to kind of brake a little bit earlier, real gradual, and get the car to rotate through and keep the speed up as much as possible. That's a tricky corner and just kind of got caught out there.
It really is. I think Puan does not get enough credit for being one of the trickiest corners at Spa. Of course, everyone kind of fawns over Eau Rouge and Radion. That's the famous one here, but there are some really, really tricky corners at this racetrack, and I think Puan might be towards the top of the list as our leaders now enter that same corner here. You can see that double apex to the left, kind of wide radii, but it's deceiving. And you're downhill into that corner and almost off camber, I feel like, where the racetrack almost kind of leans away from the apex and follows down away from the apex. So it's very tricky. The car is doing some weird things. It loads up really weirdly, and you've just got to be very, very ginger into that braking zone if you're going to brake at all. And you know, I think you do typically have to brake in a GT3 car. Some other cars maybe you can kind of float it in there, but yeah, you got to be really, really smooth.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things that, I mean, there's a lot of time to get to gain there if you can master that corner. And like you said, it's kind of underrated. This looks like a good run from Almiron here.
This is on the 777 of Stevenson. Tries to send it underneath. No dice.
That's good. You don't need to. There you go. Now keep it close. You got the long run, but this way you put him under pressure and make him, you know, make him think about you, make him keep an eye on you.
Meanwhile, Anthony Wayand, after winning the heat race, the sprint race, he has not been able to go anywhere north of his starting spot. Now he'll try it. Oh, big send there on Dan Sales. We've got ourselves some side-by-side. Tiago here. Oh, no! Big hit for Dan Sales, the 410. Massive impact there.
It looked like they got through so cleanly, and then just, I think someone tried to adjust their line, and there just wasn't the room. Oh, yeah, that's done. Here we go.
Hitting and banging. Chicken. Nick Renner, Logan Smith, and Logan Smith gets booted off of the racetrack there, and he immediately lights up that 316. That was a little aggressive for sure. Devin Jenkins now going to have a run. Devin's going to go right.
Well set up by Jenkins.
2 for 1 here, early portion of the lap. He will go by the 316 of Renner and continue on in his pursuit. Ooh. And there he goes. Smith gets back to Renner, and Renner is going to go for a spin.
That might have been a little,
well,
I have to look. I'd have to see if his engine, if he's accelerating into that, but I'm wondering if that might have been a little bit of retribution.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't rule it out. This is the situation, though, around the 10th spot. We'll leave admins to decide on that. We saw it live, and I don't want to give too much attention to it if it was intentional, but this is sensational. I mean, so many battles on the racetrack right now. I don't want to leave this behind. This is Cooper Brownell in that kind of teal Ferrari. Then, is that DeMarco? That is Alex DeMarco in the 2 car, the purple M Squad Ford Mustang. Then you've got Anthony Wayand in the in the Mercedes. There's so many different manufacturers for once. Then you've got Gritzko in the Mustang. Here we go.
Oh man, all that tow, all that draft coming down. This is just another one of those when they get to the bus stop, there's going to be a big shuffling of the cards here, I think. Ooh, well held. It's good.
Make you wince. Wayand had to back out, maybe with a slowdown or something. He has fallen back of this fight now. As deep goes DeMarco. Gritzko around the outside. Brownell has a run. Gritzko's going to set sail. And Wayand is going to hit the pits.
Great move, Gritzko. That was great.
Is that incidents already? Maybe for weigh-in. That's something to keep an eye on. He's in the pit lane. Or is he trying to get out of the riffraff and get back on the racetrack with fuel and run some clean laps? I don't know. That's something to watch. He's not the only one in the pit lane, though. But he is going to go straight through. It was a drive-through for incidents. That's early. Not even...
That's very early. Especially because, you know, you can definitely get around quickly without getting too many off tracks. There's, you know, a couple places where you kind of risk it a little bit. But compared to what they just went through 2 weeks ago at Austria, it's not really that big a deal. So, but what will get you is a lot of the wheel banging, where it'll give you 0x a lot of the time, but those 4x's, they stack up.
I'd imagine it was the car contacts and the random little 1x's where you don't typically go off the racetrack, but you're racing so hard that you end up using some extra dirt. That probably got weigh-in, rather, here in the opening, 12 minutes of the race. That's pretty quick to end up with 15 incidents and have to go through the pit lane. Meanwhile, for the race lead, DeLeo and Thompson, they are gone. I mean, 3 seconds back to Alcrudo. This might be the cream of the crop this season, the class of the field.
It could be. I wouldn't rule out Alcrudo either. I think Thompson might be doing a little bit of fuel saving. I know in practice, Alcrudo was one of, if not the fastest one in the practice session leading up, but kind of inconsistent. So it's a matter of hopefully over the course of the race, I think if he can cut out the mistakes and just drive consistent laps, I think he might make up some of that gap, and especially if you can save a little bit of fuel. But that's going to be hard because Pierre's really the one who's going to benefit from that. And you can see he's taking just a much more comfortable line, really prioritizing the exits, staying tucked in. I think he's just going to try to jump him at the stop unless he gets like a really good run where he can get the move done easy and safe.
I think without a doubt, Pierre Thompson seems like the favorite so far for the championship, not just because he comes in tonight leading the standings. It's only been one round. Throw that out the door. But he has just been the most comfortable while also being the most aggressive here in this series. And you don't always need to be aggressive in the North American Racing League, but you need to be able to be aggressive, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got a little bit of first-hand experience to that, especially. I mean, that's going to pay off when you get up into the Pro and the Pro-Am, because those guys, I mean, man, I've been banged around a lot since I got promoted last season, let's say that. So,
and battle for the race lead, Thompson, he's going to win it. A little netcode there maybe at the apex of turn 6. DeLeo had to go wide after getting a door ding. I mean, Thompson had the nose ahead, though, into the braking zone for Lacombe. So props to Pierre Thompson. He used the run down the Kemmel Straight perfectly, got around the outside, got his nose just ahead at turn in, and technically then, I mean, you could argue that he kind of has the corner, right? He kind of has rights at that point, especially to the next apex. So I don't know that that would be any kind of penalty, especially with the fact that it was netcode. By the way, where did Mason Houseman start this race?
Very back. I think 36th, something like that.
Here he is at 11th.
Wow. I mean, he just does it just so quiet and low-key. He's not making mistakes. He keeps it. I genuinely wonder. I genuinely think it's the oval experience. It has to help being able to, like, dodge the chaos a little bit.
I think like so. I think you're onto something there. The oval expertise, and he's always been good on road courses over in BRB, but the oval expertise as far as managing chaos and managing traffic, I think is certainly helpful to him here, because even though you're turning left and right here at Spa in very different race cars from what you see in NASCAR series, granted the Cup cars are a little closer to GT3 these days, you still, the same mannerisms, I suppose, the same, I guess, sense of awareness maybe has to come through when you're in all of this traffic, when you're starting back in 36th and have to go through all 35 cars if you want to go forward. We still have a lot of race to go, but technically he has just cracked the top 10 as Armando Aarons hits the pit lane here in car number 7. He's got some damage.
Let's see, is this a scheduled stop probably? I think try to get it in, get it fixed, get the pace. It's been a lot of guys stuck in traffic. That's one thing. There's different ways to game the traffic if you can get behind someone who's similar on pace. I think one thing Hausman, I mean, he's so fast. He was one of the fastest guys in practice and in qualifying. I mean, he qualified 4th. So back there in the middle of the pack, he's probably going to be able to save a lot more fuel. And so I think hopefully he can get a shorter stop, maybe jump some more, and who knows how far up he'll get.
And after the sprint race, I was ready to crown Richard Wolsifer as the resident oval representative here today, considering he had, I think, the best result of any of the oval drivers in this race. But he has had issues here, as Logan Smith has problems now. Oh, that's not how you do that. Big mega miss there to Mitch Buenaventura. That was heads up to just go around. Sometimes you got to aim for where the car is because they're moving and they won't be there for very long. Props there to Mitch. But yeah, no, I was looking at where Richard was starting this feature event, and I mean it was up in the teens, the lower teens. He had a pretty solid run there through the heat. Let's see, where did he start? Yeah, 16th, right in the middle there, I suppose. Still, I think it was the best of the oval racers in the sprint, and then has had a handful of issues already here in the feature. So he's back down to 21st, has some work to do, but not the end of the world at all for Richard. He's still ahead of a lot of the other oval racers. Well, I say that. Brendan Maddox is actually doing really well for himself. He is up into 13th spot. There he is. Braxton Skinner is in 14th. And Zach Brandvold is in 16th. They have Devin Jenkins in the middle there in 15th. So certainly going to be worth watching those guys as the day goes on. Houseman now stays out while Brownell pits. So Houseman gains another by virtue of the pit lane, as here are your leaders. There is so much to keep up with today.
I'm really glad that DeLeo was able to hang in tight. We might see him make a similar move. This is shaping up to be a good race between these two guys. Keep him busy all day. Here we go. He's going to defend the inside.
DeLeo.
Smart. Let's see if he squeezes him.
Going to be the latest of the late breakers. He will have the nose ahead into the first of 2 apexes, and yes, absolutely. He put the same move right back on Pierre. That was impressive.
Oh, this is great between these two guys. I love seeing this also with two such different cars, too. The fact that they're, you know, able to keep it so close, which kind of like I was saying, like that's the technique thing, right? Like you can make up for that here.
Yeah, I do like that the AM class has a much more diverse set of cars this season. Even, I mean, in seasons past when it was combined into one race, I'm sure you could attest to this. Even some of you now Pro-Am drivers were kind of following the meta a little bit. Maybe not you specifically. I know you've always kind of gone for the Ferrari in past seasons, but it seems like even down in that lower class, the last couple of seasons, it's certainly been meta car choice. Down here in AM, I think these guys, you aren't always getting the best out of the car. I think that was the lesson we learned at Austria a couple of weeks ago. You aren't always getting the most out of the car, so the car doesn't mean nearly as much.
Exactly. That little dip in the gravel there is dangerous. That slows you down so much. The exit of that corner is so important. See, he's got it really close. He might be able to make a move here. See if he tries it.
Leo holding right. You see to the left goes Pierre Thompson, looking around a little bit. No dice here. Oh, Thompson's just going to pit.
Ah, okay.
That's one way to fake him out. So Thompson comes into pit, and you know what? It is about that time. We are halfway through this feature race, and we've been seeing more and more pit stops the last couple of laps. Here goes Thiago Tavela into the pit lane. He, I'm sure, will be joined by more as, let's see, Booley, Turcotte, they don't. But here comes Maddox in the 23. And, you know, something interesting for these oval guys as well, Brendan Maddox into the pits. They don't have pit limiters over there in NASCAR racing. So for Maddox to have the pit limiter at his disposal and then get into the box like that, that is a much more controlled manner of pitting versus what they do every Tuesday in a stock car.
Oh, for sure. It's so much nicer. I mean, you've got to be wondering, like, man, why don't we just implement this in? But almost no pit limiter because it kind of makes a little bit of gamesmanship more possible. And I think some of the pro guys will even try to get that last little bit over without getting the penalty.
But you know what? I'll be honest. Having just run a league race the first time in a while last night, and it was a NASCAR league race, it was at Daytona, I had some crazy pit entries, middle of the pack, we had some green flag pit stops, and I love pitting at speed at racetracks like Daytona. Having to go from 180, 190 miles per hour down to 50, or whatever the limit is there, I think it might be 60 or something, but regardless, down to pit speed, you're cutting your speed into a third of what it was prior, with a whole pack of cars trying to do the same thing with you. Space is limited, both in the braking zone and just width of the racetrack. I will never get tired of that. And then you've got to hold that same speed the whole way down the pit lane. I'll be honest, there's even been some endurance races where I've gotten bored because we're so far out of the lead battle that I have pitted without the pit limiter because I wanted to do something. You know, I wanted to have some fun with it.
Yeah, you know, to each your own.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little unorthodox for sure, as our race leader Jose DeLeo will pit this time with 17 minutes remaining. We are on lap 10 of an expected 13. Let's quickly see. So he was racing with Pierre Thompson. Pierre, I don't see it. Has he had problems? He has. He had a very he was caught speeding. He was caught speeding, Chris. There you see, 55 seconds. That is huge. Jose, I think, might have this.
I think he might. The only one he's got to worry about now is El Crudo. But let's see. I mean, I don't know if he can make that up. El Crudo is fast. He is definitely one of the fastest ones.
Well, there's El Crudo. He took longer in the pit lane by about a second, let alone the fact that Jose already had all that time ahead. Now, El Crudo should be in traffic. He should be able to draft a little more easily. Actually, they're pretty spread apart. I think this is Jose's race.
I think you might be right. We're picking favorites. I think that's probably a good one. I mean, he's fast, but that's especially with the longer stop. That's a long. That's a big gap to try to make up in 16 minutes. So all you got to do if you're DeLeo, just no mistakes. Just this is control your pace, apexes, exits. Just keep the car pointed in the right direction, and it could be yours.
This could finally be a big break for Jose. I know he's had some rough goes of things in the past seasons. A couple of races where he met some rough endings, and a couple of times where he talked pretty candidly about not wanting to race, I think, in the league Discord. So this is pretty cool to see for him, for somebody that has come in and tried to just be one of the good guys the last couple of seasons, to have this opportunity to kind of walk away from the field now. Now that the driver he was racing made a huge, crucial mistake. I mean, Pierre's down to 22nd at this point after that, what had to be a speeding penalty. That, or I wonder if maybe it was unsafe pit entry. Do you have to hold to the right of that line, maybe, on pit entry here? That might have been it, because Pierre did duck off really late in the chicane.
And yeah, it's just so important to practice that, because it's so easy to get caught out. You can't, when you turn right to go into that pit entry, when you come around the bus stop, there's a little bit of a crest almost, and it can be really hard to see where that line is. You almost don't see it until right at the last minute. So if you don't know that that's coming, you might not know to just stick all the way over there.
By the way, we do have confirmations from Scott Angelo. That was not an intentional move, by the way, in that that heat race. As we theorize later on, he just lost sight of the track, didn't realize he was going to be out in the grass, and well, ended up out in the grass. But glad that we were able to get clarification there. Also clarification that Mason Houseman did lose internet briefly after his qualifying effort that put him fourth in the grid, to put him back in the field here in this race. Here is Richard Wolsifer and his Corvette into the box. He should be down and away here shortly. He's about the final car to need to pit, as Nick Renner might have just blinked out, but boy, there is a lot going on. No, actually, Renner's been out for a while. I'm sorry. My time against scoring just got completely discombobulated, but here's a fight. Couple of Mustangs, Gritzko and Houseman side by side. Oh, watch out! Houseman bullies him off. That stands in NASCAR racing. That's not going to be viewed as kindly here. But to be fair to Mason, we didn't see everything leading up to that.
Yeah, coming out of the pits when they both did their stop, they came out actually side by side, and I think that might have been
Of that, where they did a little bit of wheel banging as they exited.
This is down into Lacombe, and I wonder if Mason maybe felt like he got shoved off there at first, so he kind of shoved back. I don't know that I necessarily see it entirely that way, but let's give him more benefit of the doubt here. Watch it one more time. This is down the long Kemmel Straight. I want to see if the blimp shows us or not. It might not. There's so many trees here at Spa, but slow it down maybe. I feel like Christian... Christian definitely used him slightly. Not as much as Mason used him back.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It was more given than he got, for sure.
Here's Diego Mello's view. This might be a better tale of what happened. You see the mirrors touch there briefly into the braking zone. And yeah, Christian kind of comes wide. He got the curbing there on the first apex, but then Mason definitely sent Christian farther off the racetrack than Christian sent Mason. I mean, it's heads-up racing. I think they can probably get along okay and maybe talk about it after the race, but definitely something to keep in mind if we see them come back together. As Thiago Tavela, it's about time for driver of the day. Remember, he spun out of La Source, lap 1 in the sprint race. Here he is, top 5, trying to hold on to it over Alex DeMarco. Thiago has to be in the conversation, I feel like.
Definitely, it's been a good recovery drive for him. I mean, a little bit of a mistake starting out, but to find yourself back in P5 after that, that's, I mean, no matter what happens. Now, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. He's got to be riding pretty high, and I think that's definitely a deserving nomination.
Well, it's not a nomination yet. I'm going to give you the floor to make your first two, and then I will follow up with mine. Wide open. We could even go here to positions gained since the start of this feature race there on the ticker. You see the 9 for Tavela, 27 alone in this race for Houseman, 12 for Melo. Certainly some highlights throughout the top 10 and beyond.
I mean, yeah, I got. If I'm going first, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Houseman. You got to do it. I mean, he's got really bad luck. Both with the qualifying, I mean, the mistake there 2 weeks ago, and then just the internet cutting out. It's like, you know, when it rains, it pours. But both times, he's his composure.
Actually, 27 positions, I mean, in 30 minutes is outstanding. He's almost at a position a minute, which on a 2.5 minute lap is pretty good. That's really something to talk about, I think.
I agree. That is a really solid nomination there for Mason Houseman. I think probably the best option in the field. Who you got for number 2, though?
Number 2, it's tough for me. I think
you know, he kind of benefited a little bit from the inversion, but he held on against someone who we know to be very good at overtaking. And with the back and forth, and he kept his composure, and you know, Pierre, this week Pierre cracked, and DeLeo looks like he's going to go home and get a well-deserved victory here, which will be really nice to see. And as you had pointed out, the first mid-engine victory of the season.
So Jose DeLeo certainly, I think, belongs on that list here today. I'm going to go back, and I am, let's see, who did I mention? Was it? Oh, it was Thiago, for sure. Thiago, I think, has to be on here. One of the few Astons here in the AM class. Certainly, with what we saw there, it's kind of a full round recovery versus the single race recovery here from Mason Houseman. But I think certainly Thiago deserves a look and at least a chance to be included in this vote. And then Looking around, I mean, Christian Gritsko and Dominic Turcotte having a fantastic fight. Never mind, Turcotte's around. Whoa, watch out. Evan Jenkins goes by. Here comes Anthony Wayand. Anthony had that early pit stop. He had to pit again. That's why he's so far back. Brendan Maddox is going to pass on by. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, contact there between those two. Watch out. I'm thinking here. I am procrastinating, as I so often do.
That's fair. I mean, it's pretty exciting stuff right now. This is a dangerous place to do. Oh, there we go. Just lift, let him go. Again, that's not one of those places you really want to play chicken.
You know what? I think I'm going to go for another recovery. Well, I'm thinking hard. There's smoke pouring out of my ears currently.
There are a lot of choices. There
really are. I mean, I can make a great case for a lot of these drivers. Certainly Alex DeMarco, he's at the same amount of spots as Thiago here in this race specifically, and he's doing well for himself. Cooper Brownell, I think he's kind of falling flat despite having a good round at Austria. He's doing well today still, top 10, that's great, but a little bit farther off from what we saw last week. Al Crudo certainly is worth mentioning. Almiron, I don't know. I've never been so stumped. You know what? I'm going to go Christian Gritsko actually, because he had that self spin under pacing last time at Austria, and you know, unfortunately, we were focusing on him for a pretty somber reason, as his grandmother has recently passed, and we certainly still wish the best out to the Gritsko family in Moldova. But Christian has bounced back from that in a really solid way. Here he is, nearly top 10. If one random little thing happens ahead of him, yes, he's lost a spot technically in this feature event, but if one little thing happens ahead of him, he can get back in the top 10. And I do believe, we'd have to look at the results again, but I believe he gained a handful of spots in the sprint earlier. He's been in some great battles with a handful of drivers. He has maintained composure. So for somebody who has had a sometimes shaky experience in NARL, I want to give him a nod for holding it together this week in a really powerful way and firing back after what was even a tumultuous first round at Austria.
That's a really good pick. I like that one.
Great way to bounce back from a rough weekend. That's kind of what you want, just to get back up there on your horse and show everybody that you have the pace and you can put it together. So it's really good to see him out there in P11 right now.
Mitch Buenaventura in a Porsche is putting pressure on Brendan Maddox in a Ford Mustang. This is for 15th spot and is just north of halfway through the remaining field. I will say it's always fun to ride back on board of the Porsche. I know they don't get used very often in this series for whatever reason. We don't have many Porsche stands, but I know you can hear it on the production feed right now. Something about a Porsche is just like classic endurance racing sound to me for some reason. I don't know why.
It does. It's got that whine, that high-pitched whine.
And then still kind of has a growl down through the gears into the braking zone. It's got just that little bit of earthiness to it. I like it. As Gritsko, oh my goodness. I've just put him up for driver of the day, and this seems to be an incident penalty for the 91 car. The timing could not be worse. Well, I won't take it back. I can't really do that, but he will get back out there in 17th spot.
That commentator's curse is just...
Yeah.
It's real and it's brutal.
This is a good fight again with Thiago Tavela and Alex DeMarco, and even throw in Armando Aarons. He might have been a good look for driver of the day, thinking about it now. Any one of these three certainly could have been in that.
For sure, and they've all, like we said, there's so many to pick from because they've all given us really good racing today. There's been a lot of side-by-side stuff. A lot of, there's been a few instances of playing chicken, but really only the one that didn't work out. They've held it together surprisingly well while doing some pretty aggressive and exciting to watch moves for sure.
They'll be going by the lapped car here of Robert Moyer Jr. through the back end of this lap. And when Jose De Leo gets back to the flag stand this lap, it should be 2 laps to go. As we call it in oval racing, that'd be popsicle sticks in the air from the flagman. So 2 more times around the historic circuit here at Spa. Next up for these drivers, it's out to the possibly even more historic racetrack at Indianapolis, but we're not racing on the most historic course there. Of course, we're not on the oval, the Brickyard, technically. We are on the road course, as you'd imagine, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week. I'm excited for that. It's going to be a little bit different for these guys. Kind of still hitting somewhat of a roval this season. We don't have Charlotte on the schedule, don't have Daytona on the schedule, but Indianapolis certainly will do. And it's going to be a change-up for these drivers, I think. It's much closer quarters, I feel like, and certainly it's still very, very technical. A little bit less flowy, a little bit more manufactured. The infield there is all flat, so it's a lot of really willing the tires to grip around those corners.
Definitely. It's a technical track. I think is this just going around a little lap traffic here. Nice, smooth. You can see that gap hasn't really come down.
Indy, it's very technical track. There's a lot of places where the trail braking is very important, and it's kind of easy to remember where you're going and learn the layout, but nailing it just right, it's one of those that takes a lot of practice, a lot of seat time to get it just right.
There's a battle sparking up for 4th. Tiago Tavela, Alex DeMarco, they have run down David Stevenson, as this is a current look at that situation as they run through Bruxelles, now through Jackie X Corner. This battle far from over, I feel like. 4 cars under a blanket, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. BMW,
Still got plenty of time.
BMW, Aston Martin, Ford, and Ford.
Yeah, this is crucial here. The tires should be fine. They don't really wear that much. I didn't notice, that much change in the grip towards the end of the race. There was a little bit, but it wasn't feeling greasy or slidey. So if you've been okay on your tires, you're still good at this point. If you're second in that train, you're looking pretty good, but the guys behind, it's going to be hard when you get stuck in that train and everybody's getting a tow. As you can see, they're not really making up any positions on each other.
And as our race leader, Jose De Leo, comes across the start-finish line to take the white flag, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams here today in our feature event. I certainly want to give a big nod to a couple of drivers who just began their careers today. Although here's a battle out of the chicane into La Source. Let's watch this first. I can give a verbal shout out, I suppose. Clifford Allison and Robert Moyer, they're not having a great day necessarily on the scoring pylon, but they are learning a lot about this series and what it takes to succeed here today. They have stayed in it through and through. They have not parked it early. They're still racing, and I appreciate that about them. They are not quitting early. They want to learn what it takes here in the North American Racing League and find that in weeks and seasons to come and get better at this thing that we call road racing. But this is a really cool little fight. Here we go into Lacombe. Final time for these drivers. Tavello on the left side, driver's left. Stevenson, driver's right. Almost contact there. Oh, a shot maybe.
Well, if he can get the inside, no, he couldn't quite get there, so he's going to park it on the inside, and that's probably going to be the end of that run right now, but yeah, you want to tuck in behind. You're leaving yourself vulnerable to the cars behind you now.
Tiago really wants that 4th spot. David Stevenson does too.
And for some white knuckles for the last sector here as we come up. It's gonna be. I think we're good out in front. I don't think they're gonna track down the leader of that particular train, but guys in the back might mix it up a little bit.
Still watching these guys. We'll try to watch them when they get to the bus stop. Here they are down through the back end of the lap, but final few moments now for Jose De Leo en route to his first victory of the season, maybe first of his career. I'm not sure on that stat specifically, But Jose DeLeo, this is going to be a huge result for him. A big proving grounds day for driver 78, and what I believe is our first mid-engine victory of 2026. Jose DeLeo wins at Spa.
You can see the cheerful.
Very well deserved. Great win, Jose. It was a very good race.
Oh, missing the apex there was Armando Aarons. He slows down. That might allow Brownell to go by. It will. You're seeing the final few moments. Hausman's going to go through. Hausman's going to pick up P8. Aaron's still slowing down.
Oh, no.
He might be out of gas. He is.
I think he is, yep.
Incredible.
There you go.
Across the line, that'll be 10th for Armando Aarons, I do believe, as the rest of the field comes on through. Some more battles. Padovani, Gritsko side by side, power down through the gears. Gritsko gonna hang on. That's for 18th spot. Logan Smith, Dominic Turcotte, they're not done yet. Turcotte tries. Flying back through the gears, that McLaren gets away. Logan Smith will hang on to 21st. Dominic Turcotte will have to settle then for 22nd. And it'll just be a few more cars coming through. This will give us a chance to focus on that driver I was talking about earlier, Clifford Allison III. I'll be honest, you mentioned it to me pre-race. I think he's at the lowest I rating here. He is somebody just trying to learn. He's got an 800 I rating. Some of these guys are up to 3,000. And certainly on pro nights, we've got guys up over 10 and 11,000. So Clifford's got a long way to go, but this is the beginning of that journey. He's one of the oval drivers over in the All-American Racing League now on Sunday mornings here on Pit Stop TV throughout 2026. And Clifford wanted to go run some sports cars. Here he is, making true on that desire, and he's kept the car pretty clean. I haven't seen him have too many issues. Has some pace to find, sure, but this is where you start, Chris.
Definitely. This is a great place to learn. There's a lot of drivers that are willing to help out, give advice, and help you along your journey there, because we've all been there. We've all been new and trying to learn the ropes and find that pace. So especially with all the practice sessions you can get into that Scott hosts, and there's a lot of good opportunities to go in and look at other people's laps and kind of try to figure out what they're doing differently from you. So
and Clifford
good
will
job
wrap
not
this
giving
one
up,
up.
staying through.
Yeah, he and Robert Moyer both, even though Robert ended up a lap down at the end. Great job by them to continue on and get all they could out of it. As here's looking Mason Hausman. He is currently leading that driver of the day vote, I think, for good reason. 36th to 8th in this feature race alone. 40 minutes of racing, and he made nearly 30 passes for position. That is incredible.
That is so crucial, because you only get the one drop race. And I mean, he had a really good recovery last week, so kind of saved the drop race a bit there, and it looks like he's kind of saved it here. You average the two results, but for having an internet cutout, you can't hope for anything better than that. That was an excellent performance by Hausman today.
So he parks there on the front stretch, I think, waiting on his teammates to come join him for some pictures, as Brendan Maddox will pull up and Brandvold will join. So they're taking a quick photo op there on the front stretch, but let's go down through your unofficial race results here today at this historic circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. It's been a fun one as per usual, and we've got a lot to talk about with these results. Let's take a look. Of course, we have Jose DeLeo out front with the race win, 1.8 seconds ahead of anybody else. That number did come down a little bit, maybe just relaxing there at the end. Alcrudo second, Almiron third, on down through Stevenson and Tavela, your top five. DeMarco and Brownell just behind, with Hausman there at eighth, Diego Melo in ninth, and Armando Aarons, your top 10.
Yeah, excellent. So for the rest of the top 20, we have in 11th, Mark Booley, 12th, Anthony Wayan, 13th, David Jenkins, 14th, Mitch Buenaventura, 15th, Brendan Maddox, 16th, Zachary Brandvold, Pierre Thompson in 17th, Christian Gritsko in 18th, Norman Padovani in 19th, and Bob Guadagnoli reps out in position 20.
And on down to 21st spot, you'll find Logan Smith. He had a tumultuous race here today for sure. Dominic Turcotte in 22nd. Billy Bowerman, Richard Wolsifer, Anthony Astone, your top 25. Jordan Hendricks got back on the racetrack. He'll finish 26th. Braden Van Wiggerden hangs on to the lead lap in 27th. Dean Kerr in 28th. And to complete your top 30, Wayne Grennan and Braxton Skinner.
Moving down to 31st, Jeff Denardi. 32nd, Clifford Allison III. 33rd, Robert A. Moyer Jr. And 34th, Nicholas Renner. 35th, Dan Sales. And 36th, Corey McQueen. We see a few guys back there that had to finish early today.
And as we await drivers to join us here this evening, we can, I suppose, go ahead and wrap up that driver of the day vote as it's going to go. Well, we typically let it run through interviews. We'll try to let it go a little bit longer. We are on a time clock here, so drivers, we do need you to connect as promptly as you can. But we can take a look at what's upcoming then, I suppose, for us here at Pitstop TV, and it includes the broadcast we're heading straight into after this. That is the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series with their super late models on track at New Smyrna Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun. Race 10 of 12 for their season, so it's just about championship time, and it's a crucial race this evening. 126 laps there around the half mile that is New Smyrna. Then Monday, we continue on a brand new season of the NORA Retro Cup Series 2003 NASCAR Cup Cars around the racetrack at Auto Club Speedway for round 2 of 36 in that year-long campaign, brought to you by Harpoon Design. I'm excited for that. We had Daytona this past week. It was amazing. I'm excited to keep on keeping on with those cars. They're kind of replicating the 2005 NASCAR Cup season. And then Tuesday, it's the BRB Sundance Pro Series. They are heading to Watkins Glen. So those guys running BRB and North American Racing League, they get a, I guess, preview of what Watkins Glen can be like. Granted, it'll be in ARCA Menard Series cars on the Watkins Glen Cup course, not the full boot configuration that will take GT3 cars to very, very soon here in NARL. Of course, you can catch these broadcasts and more across all of our social media platforms there, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and X. If you're joining looking for the broadcast booth, it's a little bit down. You got to join the Discord, then scroll down. I promise we're in here. We are available. We are running out of time for you to come join us this evening and talk to us. Chris, I suppose, as we look forward to the rest of the schedule, we've already talked about these racetracks a little bit. 6 more to go. What stands out to you? Which one are you looking most forward to, both as a driver in the Pro Series and as a commentator potentially the rest of the time here for the AM drivers?
Well, for the Pro-Am series, I think the one I'm looking most forward to racing, it's really hard to pick. Suzuka is one of my favorites. I haven't done a whole lot of racing there in GT3, so I'm not sure. I know VIR and Indy both have some excellent racing, so I think those will be fun. Broadcast-wise, for watching, I think Watkins Glen might be my favorite to watch. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the amateur guys go do that one. Just less so trying to survive it myself, but that's part of the fun.
The vote is currently tied for driver of the day, so if you hear my voice and you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you vote. This might be the final moment to do so. The vote currently tied. Let's see if we can break that tie here in these final couple of moments of this broadcast. It does seem like we're getting some drivers connecting. Let's go ahead and bring in Jose DeLeo with a big win here this evening at Spa. Jose, it seemed like from the get-go of the feature race, you were always going to be in contention, but how did you get there? How did you put yourself in that spot through the invert in the sprint?
Wow, I have to tell you, I was extremely lucky on the last lap, corners of the first heat. I don't know what happened. I saw an opening and I took it. And I think that gave me the opportunity to start on that first row on the second heat. And from there, it was just a matter of no mistakes, take it easy, find my spots, my reference points, and just be consistent. And it happened for me. I'm happy.
We're happy for you. I know the last couple of seasons you've run the Mustang and you've had some bad luck here and there. And tonight finally felt like it all paid off. All of that sacrifice, all of that just going through the motions has paid off. You get a big win here tonight. Does it feel that way to you? Does it feel like it's all finally come together?
At least on this race, it did. I did a little. I had a little lazy spin, but I got kind of frustrated by that. But yeah, I mean, it's just persevering, trying to keep my race steady, and it finally paid off. I'm happy. Finally, the luck is on my side, apparently.
And of course, a lot of great racetracks the rest of the season. Here's the graphic again. we've obviously gone to Red Bull Ring and now to Spa. Next is Indianapolis, then Mexico, New York, well, Watkins Glen, Suzuka, VIR, Road America. What are you looking most forward to try and repeat this?
Just keep ahead of those Mustangs and Mercedes. Those guys are fast. Miguel Alcrudo's fast. Arens is fast. So just keeping those Mustangs behind me and see where I end up.
Well, Jose, it was a lot of fun to watch you out front tonight in that Corvette, no less. When all these drivers behind you are going for front-engine cars this season, you in that Corvette, you get the win tonight. That's pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Jose
Thank you for the link.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Jose. A big win here tonight at Spa. Waiting to see if we can get another one of our podium drivers. But I know Emiliano said he would have to do his interview in Spanish. We can work with that as long as if you can hear me and understand my question, absolutely respond in your native language. That's fine, and we will kind of go from there. But I don't see Emiliano in the Discord channel. We can also, if you want to send me a message, I can read it on air. Well, you know what? We've got a driver that has reported for interviews. Let's go ahead and talk to him, Chris. Mason Houseman, possibly driver of the day today. The vote is still pending. Mason from 36th on the grid when we began this feature race tonight to 8th. Can you believe that?
I would prefer not to believe it. I'd prefer to be up there trying to go for a race win. I haven't had the luck on my side. I know Jose, he said earlier that he had the luck on his side. I'm like in the interview, I'm like, please give me some of that luck. But no, the internet crashed on me in the heat race, and then I had to reboot everything. And then by that time, I was already 4 laps down. So just trying to get back up, I guess.
I'm sure Brendan will tell you maybe it's time to build a router reset into your race preparations about an hour or two prior. But hey, it's another stellar performance here now at Spa. We're going to hit some racetracks that I feel like you've been to before. Indy, Mexico, Watkins Glen. I'm sure you've at least seen them a little more often than places like Red Bull Ring and Spa. Granted, BRB's been to Red Bull Ring and you were fantastic there as well. But we're hitting some familiarity these next few rounds. Do you feel better about those races coming up?
Gonna be honest with you, never driven a GT3 car at Indy or Mexico. I have driven one at Watkins Glen, but I mean I'll be putting the time towards it. I've been busy with school here and military and trying to get everything situated. So, but I'm gonna be putting the practice laps in. I'm gonna try. I mean I'd like to finally win a race here, but honestly as of right now it's just trying to get my points back up. I took a bigger hit off of missing the heat race here today. But I have a drop race, so I'm looking at championship picture now, just trying to be as consistent as I can with the finishing positions and moving on till next week.
Well, Mason, good to talk to you after another stellar performance. I'm going to go hit the button on the poll, by the way. We've given people enough time to vote, and we are going to award you with today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day. I know you've won a couple of those in BRB, but now you've won one here in the North American Racing League. How does that feel?
I won something finally. I'm so happy. But no, I appreciate all of y'all. I really do. I hope you know, or I guess you probably don't know because you're not here with me. I am sweating. I have a gray shirt on. It's now a darker gray. So no, a lot of the guys out there, they're great racers, but dang, are they hard to pass. They have a lot of skill out there, and I'm really happy that I get to showcase a little of mine. But no, I love this league. I mean, it's one of the best leagues I've ever been in, and I enjoy every second with it. And yeah, I just love it.
Congratulations, Mason. Good to talk to you. It's been a little bit, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yes, of course. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
Mason Houseman with a fun little interview there as we get ready to go racing with super late models here shortly for the Sarah Super Series. And, I'll remind everybody watching again, that is what's next up for us in just a few minutes. We'll be flipping straight into that broadcast in just a moment. But Chris, any final thoughts here from Spa?
Just it was a great race. It was great fun to watch. Like I said, I love Spa. I love this league. I love these guys racing. I'm really glad that DeLeo finally got one, and I'm sure we'll be in for another good show the next time they get out here.
That'll do it for us this evening at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. A big thank you to our partners with the series, Maradness, JS Consulting, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and of course, Rocket Designs, helping us get to and from the virtual racetracks. No matter where we go in the world here in the North American Racing League, it's always a bunch of fun. A big thank you to our partners as well, Whiplash, SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and of course, the North American Racing League. That'll do it for us tonight in our first of 2 broadcasts on the evening. Don't leave us. Well, I guess go to our channel page and get ready for that Sarah race to start up in just a few. Chris, thanks for joining me once again. We'll catch you, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks at Indianapolis. Best of luck in your pro race next week, and we'll catch back up with you soon.
Thank you. Have a good one, Andrew. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you very much.
And that'll be it for us this evening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in just a few for the Sarah Super Series down at New Smyrna.